The following stream contains mature content and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Why dost thou sit upon my grave and will dead lips to speak? Why dost thou weep upon my grave and will not let me sleep? My breast it is as cold as clay, my breath is earthly strong, and if you kiss my cold clay lips, your days they won't be long. How oft on yonder grave, sweetheart, where we were wont to walk, the fairest flower that e'er I saw has withered to a stalk. When will we meet again, sweetheart? When will we meet again? When the autumn leaves that fall from trees are green and spring up again. How oft on yonder grave, sweetheart, where we were wont to walk, the fairest flower that e'er I saw has withered to a stalk.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to McStabber Studios' Bloodied Fields. I am, of course, the storyteller, Shanky McStabber.
I am Zachary Naldra, he, him. Tonight I will be playing Brother Jacob of the Hakata.
Good afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it may be. I am Astrid Dean. I am playing Priscilla Caspian, Bruja.
Hello. I'm Beetle Spock, and I'll be playing Trevor Daniels of Clan Gangrel.
Good afternoon. I am Ben McGinnis, and I'll be playing Caleb Albrecht, Clan Nosferatu.
When love and hate turn strange, and magpies filch the hours, and Judas limbs betray, know you are but a figment, a shadow sleeper's dream. Welcome to Bloodied Fields, a land of corn, blood, and mists. When we were last with this group, one of their members, Caleb, had disappeared as they were on their route to the biker bar. 1 minute he was there, 1 minute he was not. Arriving at the biker bar, they didn't get much info. They found a hostile group. Deciding discretion's a better part of valor, they left there and went to investigate the diner, where they found out this town has a thing about a special kiss. It seems many in this town are aware of what a vampire is and offer themselves willingly to feed. Though, after Brother Jacob drank from somebody, I don't think they're quite as willing as they used to be. And then, of course, from there, they went to sleep through the day, still not seeing Caleb, and woke the next night to find a key hung on their door so that they go investigate the room of the ambassador they were here to look for, a room that had been turned over ransacked, all personal effects gone, but a strange, earthy, sappy blood mixture liquid stuck on the floor. Liquid that made people drowsy. But as the group were leaving the building, they stumble upon, well, there's a bunch of magpies lining all the roads, the street signs, the power lines, everywhere. And they also bump into the strangest thing, stepping out of the fog. Caleb is heading it towards the hotel. Unexpectedly, as you were coming out. I guess we'll begin right here.
Right. Priscilla's just going to reach into her little blazer, pull out a little notebook. I'm going to write down what I see. I'm going to fold it, hand it to the next person. You write down what you see and continue. I just want to confirm that I'm not fucking seeing things.
I see Caleb.
That's not how it works. Okay.
All right. No, it's much easier than that, but all right.
You know what? Never mind.
What are you all looking at?
You for starters. You were gone for quite a bit. We saw you just vanish into this haze.
I took a walk. Not for long. That couldn't have been more than an hour or two.
It's been a night. I hope you found whatever it is you were looking for.
A night. See? And he shows his watch. 2 hours.
No, we investigated a few places. We countered a few very odd things. Yeah, we did a lot in just a few hours in your perception. And a whole night.
Odd. I've seen nothing. Aside from these birds.
So that you just aimlessly walk around the woods and mentally check out. That's a thing that you normally do. It's a little concerning, man.
It is the best way to find information.
Nonetheless, find anything useful?
Aside from more and more corn, not much. It seemed the streets were rather unoccupied.
No, not anymore.
So let's see him. When did those birds show up?
Right before yourself.
Storyteller, Brother Jacob is going to rouse check to scry the soul.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for any evidence that the person who is in front of us is actually our cohort.
Give me intelligence aspects then. Two. Okay, that gives you a question. I'll go with, you think it is. It seems right.
Is there any sense that he may have run into something supernatural that might be leaking its presence into him?
Oh, that would probably have to be Sense the Unseen now, wouldn't it?
Okay, I could roll that as well.
Yep. That would have to be Sense the Unseen because, yeah.
I'm gonna rouse to surge intelligence.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend a willpower to reroll this time.
Okay.
That is 5. This time, not a messy. Difficult.
There is. There's something off about the mist that is nearby him. It's still clinging to him in places that it shouldn't be clinging. It's almost like it's still attached to him, as opposed to just the mist, the normal fog that moves around. It's almost like it's a thin layer has enveloped him. You're watching with that many successes. It is slowly dissipating, but he is directly wrapped in the fog.
Stay out of the fog.
Stay out of the fog. It's all around us. There's not much
Yeah.
we can do to stay out of the fog.
Yes, but when you actively went into it, you spent a night and 2 hours lost in it without getting any information and not having anything to account for your time.
Interesting.
So there's something fucked up about it. And avoid it. It does have, there is something supernatural to it. It is not normal fog.
Doesn't seem like anything is normal here. Storyteller.
Yes.
I make an attempt to use feral whispers on the birds.
Go ahead. Let's see. Let's see if I'm gonna whether I'm gonna have you roll it all. Probably not in this case. You don't want him to do a service. Unless you're
Yeah.
going to ask him for a service, I won't make you roll for it. They're all staring at you. All of them.
I'll stare back at them, kind of nod my head in a sign of respect, without taking my eyes from them. And in magpie language, a little late for you all to be out, isn't it?
And for the rest of you, you hear all the birds start making noise. They're making identical noise. The blood sustains us. We watch for the sacrifice. All of the birds answered you at once.
Could you show me where the blood is for the sacrifice?
Walk to the corn. And with that, all the birds take off in unison and fly towards the cornfield.
I'll turn back to the others. You wanted information. The birds say that they wait the sacrifice of the blood sustains them. I asked them where it was. They said walk to the cornfield.
Oh,
So perhaps that's our next step.
well.
Unless
Story.
something else. Sorry.
Yeah, last storyteller. Last session we sent some magical cage, right?
Yes. Something, you were even told by Lydia, something keeps the kindred in this town here. Anytime a kindred tries to leave, they end up right back in here. Every time.
Something was stored in this cage as well, possibly.
That was Brother
Was-
Jacob's vision. Yes.
Okay. Oh,
think you did share some of it, though.
Right. So, whatever would be in that cage would be released in the field and sacrificed. I
If if the cage is keeping kindred in this town, then it's us that are trapped in here.
Perhaps that is the peculiarity of that mist. Perhaps one walks too far, one is then redirected back into this cage you speak of.
So if we wander into the corn, since there is no way out, if there's some sort of key to escape, it would have to be in there. Going directly into
The way I see it, if we're going to be essentially perpetually stuck in here and, just die of starvation and, all those other glorious things, might as well all the time rather than just standing around and she's just going to go ahead and start walking where the crows flew.
Okay, you can give me wit streetwise. Or is everyone following? Let's find out if people follow Priscilla, or are they going to let her walk alone?
I'll follow.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Anyone who follows, give me wit streetwise as well.
Oh, boy.
I mean, if it's a cornfield, shouldn't that be like survival? Or...
Well, you have to get to the cornfield first.
But
even if you can see it.
That is 3 successes.
2, 3.
So I just hit both dice things? Sorry, it's been a while.
For using Fantasy Grounds, hit the plus beside Streetwise. There's a little plus next to the die. And then drag the die next to wits right onto chat. Just drag the die and it'll drop it. Yep, there you go.
There we go.
3. So far, everyone's passed. Brother Jacob?
Brother Jacob is not prepared to go trouncing around in a cornfield on this night. He's going to head into the town to look for you said if I remember correctly, so the church is pretty run down and abandoned pretty much.
Correct.
All right. Looking for a library or place that might hold records.
Okay. You give me wit streetwise. There is a library, but you have to give me wit streetwise as well. Two. For the main group, you all start heading towards the cornfield. At first, it doesn't seem like you're getting closer. I mean, you're walking towards it, but you're not getting closer. It's almost as if you swear you've seen the same block twice walking towards it. But you do eventually somehow reach the edge of the cornfield. The corn is rather high. There's no direct tracks through it other than the normal rows of corn. For you, Brother Jacob, we'll come back to you, but you're wandering for now, trying to find the library. There is one. You've seen it as you drove through. You just got to re-find it. So we'll come back to you. Priscilla, Trevor, and Caleb, you are at the edge of a cornfield. The cornfield, oddly enough, though you hear rustling in it, no chirping of insects, no bugs at all, just rustling corn.
Are there any other animals in evidence?
None
I
that
know
you
we
can see. The magpies you saw go somewhere inside the place, but there's none on the edge of it.
Is there any? How about the lighting? Is it darker than the rest of?
It's a moonlit night. You can see by the moon. Once you get into cornfield, though, of course, the corn stalks are higher than you are, which, as you'll recall, it's supposed to be winter.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have
That
trouble
smells.
seeing for sure. Though you're kindred, you have ways to see in the dark. Some of you.
What about smells in the air? Is there anything out of the ordinary?
It's funny you ask. It smells of earth, and from somewhere is a faint scent of blood. You can't identify the type. Trevor, you have bloodhound, though, right?
Yes, I do. So I can do the residents
No, for the bloodhound,
all the time.
you can smell animal blood and a bit of human blood for sure on the air here.
Beautiful. There is both human and animal. I can't tell if it's kindred or as well, just those two.
That's it.
Nothing, no kindred, just mortal beings.
Shall we find out what's become of them since we've come all this way?
Shouldn't we wait for the brother Jacob? Or are we just gonna forge in without?
I mean, let's be real. By the time we find him, it's probably going to be morning. I mean, we really want to waste time?
Good point.
On that note, she kind of like brushes her hands off. Who wants to be thrown into the field? Come on, I haven't used my pitching arm in a long time.
You first.
If I just, you know what? You're no fun. She won't use the full extent of it, but she'll use like a little bit of her capability for soaring leap to try to see above a little bit before she kind of like plops down and have baby like
So
about
you do
like,
a vertical leap to try to look above the stalks. And as you look above the stalks, the first thing you notice, there's a low fog. You don't see it from the ground, but there's a low fog that holds over the whole place. In the distance, you can see the top of a tree that appears to, from here to be dead, somewhere out in the corn. You can even see the tops of a few scarecrows and multiple clearings in the place.
She'll do the one and then she'll do a second to kind of confirm what she's locked in place in her mind. And with her handy dandy little notebook, just scribble it out. So there's a marking point here at the tree. There seem to be some vantage point, at least points of exit, points of entry. And she'll go ahead and show it to the group.
I'll examine the diagram. Seems like we could make for that one. And he points to whichever clearing is closest.
There's one. Doesn't look too far. 100 feet.
How far away is the tree?
The tree on her diagram seems to be towards the north end of the corn stalks from where you are. A couple 100 feet.
I should be able to forge us a path.
Please do. I mean,
And Caleb will step in and start spreading cornstalks with his simian-like arms.
And does the group follow?
hesitantly. But then I step forward as well, following.
As you step in, the first thing you notice 3 steps in, the fog seems to have grown inside the place. It's a lot thicker than it was from where you could see it from the outside. You only take a few dozen steps in, and when you look back, you do not see the path that Caleb has been pushing aside. You do not see the town behind you. All you see is endless corn rows in all directions. And the wind is blowing. Well, there was no wind as you went in. But now there's a light wind blowing. 1 minute it feels like it's blowing from one direction. Another minute feels like it's blowing from another. And it's a rhythmic pattern. Almost as if something is breathing.
Does the fog move with the wind, or does the fog stay?
No. The fog seems to be clinging and swirling around the ground and the stalks themselves, and is not disturbed at all by the wind.
Sorry, wrong character. Priscilla doesn't necessarily voice anything or any little theories, but there's sort of like this posture that she sort of takes, like this sort of like phrase, very much like a predator realizing like another predator's nearby, and almost as if to kind of calm herself down or just like paranoia, she's going to go ahead and pop Daunt.
Okay. You're going to turn on Daunt. And everyone can feel it come off you as you just suddenly just seem more intimidating.
So when we enter, we do still sense each other's presence.
Oh, you see each other. You're all
Okay.
together. You enter together. You stay together right now.
Oh, good.
For now.
Mm-hmm. I follow the leader.
So as you all push forward towards a clearing that you think can't be too far away, we're going to flash to Brother Jacob. Brother Jacob, it took you longer than you thought it would, but you have found the library. And as you arrive, you notice you've only got 30 to 45 minutes before they close for the night, but they are open. It's actually not a very big library. It's a small little library. It matches the town. But when you step inside, the lady behind the counter, an older lady, probably past retirement age, she looks you over. Hey, dearie, we're going to be closing soon, so whatever you're looking for, make it quick.
Could you point me in the direction of where the town records are held?
Yes. We've got most of them over on those shelves, and she points towards the back. Microfiche we can pull up, but that would take a bit longer than we have for tonight, unless you know exactly what you're looking for.
I'm just looking to learn more of the town's history. The microfiche will not be necessary.
So you're going to go and poke around in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So give me, let's see, intelligence investigation. Because you don't have a lot of time, so you're going to have to quickly scan. So let's do intelligence investigation. Or, if you feel you have something better, but I think that's a good one.
Well, how from where she is, how visible is the section that I'm going to?
Not visible at all. It's on the far
Okay.
side of the library.
Then I'm going to cloud memory so she doesn't remember talking to me.
Okay. An unprepared mortal, it's automatic. You don't have to roll.
All right. But so that to give myself enough time to research.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your intelligence investigation. And I'm going to roll to see how long before she checks on you or before she wanders the place when she goes to close it.
All right. I'm going to again spend a willpower so that I don't messy crit in the library.
Oh, what can go wrong with that?
3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. The first thing you notice, they do have the backlog of all the local almanacs published here in the town. But as you're digging through it, we're going to come back in a few minutes to you. Let's flash over to everybody else as you're going through, pouring through the books. You all have been walking. You can swear you have walked more than 100 feet and not found any kind of clearing. Nor have the animals started, or the birds started making noises, or insects. All you hear is the rustling and the wind almost breathing as you're walking through it.
Can we tell what level the rustling is at? Is it like at human level or ground level?
It's hard to tell with the way that the fog seems to be damping sound. In some places you think it's higher up, some places it's lower up, but it's all around you. And then suddenly you stumble on a very small clearing with a scarecrow looming over you.
How tall is the scarecrow? It's like the size of the corn.
It is, the top of it is barely over the corn itself. It's run through on a pole strapped to it, of course. The sack that serves as its head is hanging limp. Though you're immediately unnerved by, it's hard, you can almost swear you see little red eyes peering out from you everywhere you move in this clearing, coming from inside the bag that serves as the scarecrow's head.
And another thing, how about the sense of time? Because Caleb felt like he was just traveling for an hour or 2 hours. Is there any weird, just odd sense of the passage of time than usual?
No, your watch shows you've only been in here 20, 30 minutes, which is a lot longer than it should have taken to get 100 feet to a clearing.
Yeah.
Are there any stones or anything in here?
As you're looking at the ground for stones, you don't find any stones, but you do find there's a section of ground at the foot of the statue that looks like it's been recently dug up and then reburied. It's a small mound of earth. Whoever did it, they did a pretty good job of filling it back in, but it still has the telltale displacement of a recently dug and refilled hole at the base of the statue. Not statue, the scarecrow.
Keep an eye on whatever those red eyes or things are. I'm going to see what somebody's buried.
So, yeah, in terms of the eyes of the scarecrow, I'm going to use Sense the Beast to sense any active hostility within it, that thing specifically. So
that's a useful thing to do. Let's see here. Let me pull this up so I have it real quick.
Resolve animalism for me.
Yep. As you start to dig down, the ground is soft. It's definitely freshly dug. You're not even sure rainfall has hit it since it was dug. And you dig down. How many did you get, Trevor?
I didn't roll yet. Oop.
You're going to use Fantasy Grounds to do it. Click the plus next to your discipline, and then drag the die from the stat to the chat window. You got to do it in that order. Otherwise, it does weird things.
Yeah, I hit the plus in animalism.
Mm-hmm.
Drag.
And then drag the die next to the stat on your actual character sheet.
Oh, next to the stat.
Yep.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, not the ability.
I don't see the die.
Since the beast is going to be resolve animalism, so go to the first page of your character sheet
Okay.
and drag the die next to resolve. Don't
Okay.
hit the plus. Uncheck the plus on it because otherwise it'll double roll. Yep, just drag the die. Fantasy
So I
Grounds is
did.
fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
There
you
we go.
2.
Ooh.
There is a latent hostility coming from the Scarecrow. It's very weak, very tenuous. It's almost a echo or a shadow of hostility. Caleb, as you dig down, you find a bit of fur first. But as you dig it out, you pull up a fox, recently buried. Its jaw is wrapped around a cat's belly, and the cat has a mouse in its mouth.
Turns and kind of shows it to the other two.
Anyone have any occult?
This is odd. And he kind of gingerly lays it on the ground. No occult on my end.
The only one with
Yeah.
occult is not here with you at the moment.
Oh, great.
I'm going to continue digging to see if there's anything else underneath.
Below it, you dig a bit further and you find bones, animal bones. Apparently, this is not the first time something is buried at the foot of a scarecrow.
Is it the bones that I find? I, not being an expert or anything that would help in this situation, but would it be a reasonable assumption that a similar pattern was used in the bones, like a fox eating a cat, eating a mouse?
In each one, you find a skull. At each layer that you've dug up, there's 3 sets of skulls at any given layer. So
Okay.
It is obvious this is a pattern of some kind, though you can't identify the types of skulls, and they're different.
Okay.
Is there any way a medicine check could count for like a some sort of like veterinary identification?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll let you roll that. Intelligence medicine. That works. Go ahead.
Okay.
I like to let people roll things when they come up with ideas to roll.
I'm gonna go ahead and blood search my wits.
Okay.
Oh, hello, we're at 103. It's a boy.
Let me see how many you get.
Oh, what the hell? I'm spending a willpower. This is no bueno. Okay, that's a little better. 3.
3. From looking over what you find there, there's no signs of death on any of the 3 animals. None at all. No wounds, no openings. The bone structures feel intact.
There's no sign of any sort of like stitch work to keep them together that's been done or anything
No.
like that.
Very unnatural.
I'm just staring right at its eyes. Well, I guess up to.
As you're staring at this scarecrow, staring at its eyes, it's hard to look in its eyes. You keep wanting to look away. And then you realize your eyes keep drawing down towards the chest of the scarecrow for some reason, and you don't know why.
Oh. It's drawing me towards its torso. It's got to be something in there. I'm cut it open.
I'm going to stand up before he does that.
Well, you kind of have to because you're at the very base of it. And as you stand up, Trevor pulls open the shirt. The shirt is kind of rotten a bit from being out in the weather so much, tears open easily. Stuffed in the middle is a bunch of straw, but in the center of the straw is a heart. It does appear human-sized. Oddly enough, it's not really decayed. It's not damaged. It looks very fresh.
Is it beating?
No, it is not beating.
Okay.
That's a good question. But no, it's not beating.
I take out. It's hard if there's any like other ventricles it's attached to, or
Nope,
any
it
other
pulls
human,
out
just
cleanly.
itself.
And Priscilla, based on your
For-
3 successes you already had, when you see the heart, you don't know, it's not human. You can tell that. You're not quite sure what it is, but it does not quite look human. It's slightly, the proportions seem off.
Did anything happen to the eyes once I pulled it out? Did it like
Nope.
go away, or just still there?
They still
Okay.
seem to be following you no matter where you're standing.
Well, let's see. Would Bloodhound help me in this situation?
I will let you, yes, I will go with that. It appears to be animal of some kind.
Now, as a former park ranger, would I know the specifically what animal heart this would be?
Because you say that, yes, I will tell you it appears to be hog or boar.
Yes, this is definitely some sort of large swine. Anyone else find anything? I was
That wood track, I dabbled in certain things. You know, sometimes anyway, there are some curious inconsistencies here. The only way that I would think that these animals died like this is they were placed. There was someone that knows about the timing of how bodies, become rigid at the time of rigor mortis. Chemicals could be applied, but I don't see any signs of that. That's not something I necessarily studied. But there are curious anomalies here that are not exactly my purview.
Yeah, beats me. Is
I'm
the
going
heart
to-
dripping blood, or is
No,
it just?
but it's damp with blood.
It's got to be some sort of. I don't know anything about occult stuff, so I'm saying the components to something. I thought it would just make this scarecrow alive. That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Priscilla's been taking notes this whole time. Because she very much realizes, our woo-woo person isn't here. This is going to be helpful if we cross paths again.
Yeah, I really hope so, but I kind of doubt it at this point. I'm just gonna hold on to the heart because I don't know, instinctually might seem useful at some point.
You're going to carry a damp heart. Gotcha. Okay. I like this.
Why not?
I like where it's going.
I'm going to rebury the things that I've exhumed.
Okay. And you tamp the ground back down.
So do we go back or do we go forward?
I mean, we're already in this way, in for a penny.
Forward on.
All right.
All right.
I'm going to begin blazing the trail again.
And you all set out back into the corn. We're going to flash back now to Brother Jacob as you're moving through the corn. Brother Jacob, you're going through, scanning through all the old newspapers. And by going back a few years, scanning through, one thing that stuck out immediately is there's a number of opinion pieces about trying to turn this town into a tourist area. Some of the opinion pieces talk about the chapel at the north end of the graveyard. Seems there are a few opinion pieces against that. Another one was an opinion piece that was mocking somebody for trying to advertise the town as a local witch package to try to draw people to it. There is also one, you don't know where it came from, but a local pastor that, based on the year, just about 20 years ago, had written about using the idea of the Judas tree as a tourist draw was sacrilegious and shouldn't be done. Oddly enough, you also found the name of the pastor strikes you as odd because you remember an obituary for them a year later.
Did we discover the Judas tree on our previous exploration?
You could see it from the hotel room out towards the barely bits and pieces of it out in the cornfields, but you couldn't see it close.
But was there any discussion from our conversations with locals or any?
No one has mentioned the Judas tree yet.
Yeah, that's going to need some further investigation.
You're also finding, for a place that only supposedly had 4 missing people, there are a number of editorials about families asking why family members have gone missing in the town. And you even see an op-ed titled, "What is the Town Hiding?" This is way back November 4th, 1916. Though you don't see that particular op-ed writer writing any time after that.
Okay, so we have a pattern of people who question certain things no longer writing after they write about that. Is there any pattern? Are these articles all happening at a certain time of the year, or are they happening every so many incremental years, or anything on that can be discovered?
By your cursory searching through them, spring and fall seems to be where most of the op-eds about missing people were mentioned. The tourist thing seemed to have gone on consistently throughout the year a number of years ago, about 20 years ago. But the missing people, spring and fall was a lot of it.
And just to refresh the player's memory, what time of year is it?
You are approaching spring.
Thought so. All right. Does the library seem to have any I want to say artifacts is necessarily the right word. But mementos and things along that nature.
Looking around, you find a number of the historical pictures from over the years that they're keeping. They're using them as wall art in the library. Some of an old chapel, some of gravestones near the old chapel. There's a lot of pictures of the chapel and the immediate area of the chapel. Give me an intelligence occult roll, though, please.
One.
One success. There's some symbols on the gravestones, but you can't quite make them out enough to understand what the symbols are. A couple of the gravestones in the pictures definitely, though, have some strange symbols of some kind that are not related to what you would expect on a gravestone.
Yeah. But nothing so much as like, this is the pipe of the town's founder, or this is the...
None of that.
None of those types of... Okay. Yeah, he's gonna leave and head towards the chapel.
Okay, you can give me your wit streetwise, please, and then we'll flash back to the other group.
Seriously? All right, I'm gonna let this mushy critical go. 4 successes.
4 successes. As you're moving through, you know where the chapel is. The fog seems to be fighting you the whole way. You can feel your beast stirring to fight against it. Let me see what you have here, what I want to hit you with on this. You know, your clan compulsion, I think, fits pretty well with this kind of situation. You're driven by your blood to find out the mystery of this place and why the fog is fighting you and preventing you from finding out where everybody's going. Why are there so many missing people? But you find your way to this old abandoned chapel with a limestone foundation. Gravestones, most of them right around the chapel, quite old. But now we're going to flash to the other group. As they're wandering through the corn rolls, the breathing is still happening. The fog is even thicker now. It's now settled in above the top of the corn rows to where you're not quite sure where the moon is anymore. Unable to see the light of the moon, though for some reason there is an eerie kind of a light dispersed through the fog, so you can still see in the corn rows. You just can't tell what time of night it is, where the moon is. And then you enter another small clearing, and there's a hawthorn bush growing in a small clearing of the cornfield. There's ribbons, red ribbons tied around its branches. The ribbons are faded, worn, some of them torn. The flowers that were woven with the ribbons are long since wilted and gone. There was bells that looked like at some point, but those have rusted away. But every branch of this shrub is covered in magpies. They're completely silent. Not one of them is moving or twitching or making any noise. And even the wind is perfectly calm in this little clearing as all the magpies are staring at you from this hawthorn bush.
Out of character, Astrid is like, nope, Priscilla's just like this. Because I am a witch and I.
I'm still carrying this heart. If I kind of like move it, and would they like follow the?
They're staring directly into your eyes. A very unbird-like thing to do.
I'm assuming I don't have Sense the Beast still up.
It's
would
always
I
can
have
be
to-
up as a passive.
Just true.
Can warn you if danger is imminent, if something hostile gets too close. Unfortunately, now that you've been wandering the corn row a bit, there's a latent hostility everywhere. It's almost like the whole place does not like you.
Yeah, that came as no surprise. I'm just wondering if there was differentiate between like different like types of hostility, or like animalistic hunger, kind of like towards you or towards us, or
Well, if you'd like to fully activate your sense of the beast, you can if you wish. Resolve animalism. It's up to you.
Yeah, I like to get a sense of what's staring at us.
Okay, before you do that, make a frenzy roll, please. Just click the frenzy button on the bottom left of the first page of your character sheet.
3.
An overpowering urge washes over you. An urge to eat, to feed. Hunger. It almost forces your beast into control. But with just a tenuous grasp, you manage to keep your beast from breaking free as the hunger's washing through you. Now you can roll for your sense of the beast, which will be resolve animalism.
All right.
It's a pretty good roll. 3. The birds themselves don't seem to have hostility. You're not sure about the bush, though how can a bush have hostility is a whole nother question. The bush is permeated with the same hostility you feel latent around the place. The very trunk of it despises your presence.
I have a feeling that this bush does not like us. This bush in particular. Just
Is the fog getting to you? You think a bush can have feelings like that?
I'm sorry. I knew that some of us could bippity boppity boop into wolves and shit, but a bush?
you know, we encountered a demon on our way here. Now I'm open to a lot more things than I'm used to. Or whatever that thing was. So, Killer Bush,
I'm going to walk closer to the bush.
As you move closer to the bush, all the birds, instead of looking at the group of you, all of them focus on you. They still don't move other than their eyes and their heads slightly turn. They're not fidgeting their wings, fidgeting their feet. The wind isn't blowing this bush because there's no wind all of a sudden. And they are just sitting on it.
Is there anything around the base of it as I get closer? Can I see it, or is it the branches go all the way to the ground?
Remnants of ribbons that had flowers and bells and little offerings tied into them that have worn away, tattered, and fell off. And a few bones, tiny bones, very tiny bones, around the base.
I know I'm probably going to regret this, but Pearl Whispers.
Okay, you hit the frenzy button, please.
Mhm. Sorry, guys.
Messy critical on a frenzy roll. It doesn't, your beast doesn't even remotely. You feel it push, and with a snarl, you smash it back down, locking it firmly under control. Though something, you can't quite place it. There's something odd suddenly about your beast. Don't know what it is. It's off somehow now. Now you can, you're just going to try to talk to the magpies?
Yes.
What do you ask them?
Is this the place of blood?
And all at once, as a group, blood, hunger, must eat, must feed, must be sustained. Blood nourishes, blood feeds us all. Blood is the life bringer. Blood is what matters.
Who brings you the blood?
Blood. We must have blood. Blood in the soil, blood of the tree, blood of the land. Feed the land, become one with us.
I did kind of dip my head again and take a step back. So the bird, this appears to be the place of sacrifice. I say this to the group. The birds are going off about needing blood to sustain life and something about blood in the earth, blood in the land. They are birds after all, but something to do with I believe, not that I know anything about these things, but perhaps they are feeding this bush with blood, and whoever is part of this whole thing.
So,
Or, yes, go ahead.
ghouls, you know, when you feed them blood, they live essentially forever. I guess that happens with animals too. Can that happen with plants or, let's say, a cornfield? Is this whole cornfield a ghoul?
Not as far as I was aware, but it's a more sound theory than what I had. I mean, if demons exist, who's to say that, there's not a natural wellspring below us, not of water, but of blood? And if that's possible, we need to find a shovel because kind of
That'd
need
be
to
interesting.
take care of something.
I felt my passenger rise, but then it was cowed, but it is strange. It does not feel like it normally feels.
Yeah, I had a similar sensation.
I'm going to do another foolish thing. I'm going to bite my wrist and drip some blood onto the ground.
Give a rouse
You want
check,
me to do a
please.
rouse?
Yep,
Yeah.
do a rouse.
I get hungrier, I believe.
Yep, you do. And your beast, as you get hungrier, in the back of your head, you feel it. It's trying to warn you of something, but you can't tell what it is. It's almost as if it's being silenced by something else. And as the blood drips on the ground, the birds watch it intently And the moment the drop hits the ground, all the birds take off and shoot off. They move. Oh, you can't tell which way is north, south, east, or west. At this point, you're so turned around, but they all shoot a single direction. And as they move, the fog parts through them. And the direction they went, you can just see the branches of a tree peeking through the fog before the fog rolls back in to hide the tree.
Is the fog moves with them? In a sense.
Now, when we were given our briefing, did we hear? We were told about this tree thing, or is that something they got in the last episode?
They didn't know shit about the tree until you've seen it in the distance, but you've not really heard anything other than now Brother Jacob from the newspapers.
Okay. I looked at, is the blood on the ground pooling or is it being absorbed?
Gone.
Like absolutely gone. Okay.
Gone.
I licked the wound.
Okay, so satisfied. Give it a go.
So
I mean,
question becomes, do we continue to the tree or do we go back and get the one who might know something about all this?
well, seeing as when we entered and we looked back, the town wasn't there, it was just more corn. I think at this point it's going to be, I don't think, unless something miraculous happens, I don't think we're going to be getting out of here soon.
So
You can
what? We
catch up with us.
just dig a hole and hope the sun doesn't get to us?
What is the best way to experience the final death? The sun or monstrous bushes and magpies? I guess we have a choice.
Perhaps we should try to find our way back to the town.
I'm just going by what happened before. If we can manage to find our way back out, great. But I think it's trapped us in here. We can try. I'm not saying it's not worth a try. If you like to take our steps back.
Well, I've given it something, and that's from what the birds say. That's what it seems to want. Perhaps it will reciprocate.
I'm all open for that.
All right, so I'm going to start blazing a trail back the way we came.
Okay. So you head back into the cornfield. And the moment you step out of that clearing, once again, the wind picks up. We flash to Brother Jacob, who is now at the church with the graveyard. What are you going to do there, Brother Jacob?
I am going to activate the binding fetter.
As your eyes on focus, there's no roll for this, and you look into the area you're in. It's kind of hard to see with the binding fetter. Normal things. But this whole place, everything you can see is a fetter of some kind. One giant fetter. It's quite odd, actually.
Well, that's certainly unexpected. It's just not like the chapel is one fetter, and there's just it is all apparently just one.
Yep.
Giant fetter.
Yep.
Okay. I guess I will go inside the chapel, which is the fetter itself.
And as you step into the chapel, it's clear it's been abandoned a while. It is not a very big one, but there's dust everywhere. Though the main walk right through the middle, down the center, no dust at all. It's been cleared. Just everything else is covered in dust. The church iconography is still emblazoned on the walls. But there seems to be an altar at the back. When you get close to the altar, there's no Christian trappings on it at all. But instead, there's a human skull sitting on it with deer antlers on the temples. And from the look of it, you don't see how they're attached. They seem to be merged with the bone of the skull.
So just to clarify, the binding feather doesn't actually. It gives me the access to see the feathers and their energy, but it doesn't necessarily convey who
No, it doesn't.
the feathers
It just tells you it's a
to.
fetter. Even the skull is a fetter.
I'm going to deactivate so that my senses come back to normal.
Mhm.
I'm going to spend some time trying to figure out who this skull belongs to. This is a feather. To see if there's anything indicating from the graveyard or anything along those lines, or any of the other feathers. It doesn't necessarily have to be the skull.
Do you take the skull or do you just leave it there?
I mean, I'm the only one around. I figured no one else is going to come in and to be snooping around the creepy church. So.
And do you check outside the church and everything else to look around?
I'm looking around trying to figure. I'm looking around trying to find a fetter that I can attach a name to.
As you move around the place, you find the gravestones that had the strange markings on them. Now that you can see them clearly, the symbols represent life, death, and rebirth. But as you're moving around, you've never seen one whole place be a fetter like this, where there's locations that can be fetters, but generally it's the location and not the items in the location. Everything, including the corn growing. But as you're looking around, suddenly you hear flapping of birds as magpies all take off from around you through the town, through the cornfield, and they shoot off towards the top of a tree that you can just barely see, not far from the church, peeking out in the corn rows. All of them.
One looks similar to the Judas tree that has been described.
Yes.
He still thinks his best bet is to try to get a name to one of these fetters so that he can perform summon the spirit and talk to one. So that's going to be his kind of main goal of the time around the chapel.
Give me a wit streetwise. Or you can go wit survival. I'll let you do either one. Let's see how you do.
That is 4 successes.
4 successes. As you're moving around trying to locate a fetter. You get distracted some, And you realize you're standing at the edge of the corn that you didn't intend to be, though you're not in the cornfield. And as you're moving around looking more to try to isolate it, you keep finding yourself back at the edge of the cornfield for some reason. Every time your mind starts to wander a second, you end up back at the edge of the cornfield. You can't find individual feathers. You can't find anything. I mean, there's names on the gravestones, but since they're all feathers, one giant feather, there's no way to distinguish whether that name fits or not.
Made a note of the names, the various names that are on each of the gravestones that he has investigated, particularly the ones with those markings on them. Assuming there are some without them.
Some, only a couple had the markings. Some of them might have had markings. They're so worn by the rain and weather that you can't tell if they're marked at all anymore.
He's going to look to the magpies that had flown over to the Judas tree.
The tree looks distorted now, and you're pretty sure it's distorted because the magpies are all over the tree. At this distance, it's hard to tell for sure, but you're pretty sure the tree is covered in magpies.
Well then, it's there is a magpie that he can focus his vision on. There's a focal point that he can get, because this fucking town seems to get things turned around a bit. And if he's going to go trouncing off into the corn after this Judas tree, he's going to need something to make sure he doesn't end up getting lost, since corn seems to want to intrude with what he wants to do.
You're pretty sure, due to the height of the tree and how close you are to it from this edge, pretty sure you can keep the Judas tree in your line of sight during the walk towards it.
And he is going to do his best to do so.
As you step into the cornfield, the fog rises up around you, though for some reason you can still see the Judas tree. And as you walk through, you step into a clearing with the tree doesn't have any foliage on it. It's a bare Judas tree, though it's obviously not dead. And from the other side of the clearing that it's sitting in, you can actually see Priscilla, Caleb, and Trevor step out. And right here, everybody, we're going to go to break. We will see everybody in 10 minutes. Enjoy the Windy City break, because that's the break we have, and it's enjoyable to watch. So see you in 10 minutes, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. Before the break, well, most of the coterie went into the cornfields and have been on a merry little trip through the place. Very merry, where they found a scarecrow that was watching them with a pig heart stuck in the center of it and fresh sacrifices buried under it. A hawthorn bush covered in magpies that, well, caused the beast to do strange things. And then, of course, a clearing with the Judas tree. And as for Brother Jacob, he found out some disturbing things in the library about this town. He went to investigate the church and found a human skull that had deer antlers, not glued to it, not attached to it. A human skull who actually had deer antlers. And then, of course, he set out into the cornfield. And this is where we open up as you all enter this clearing with a tall tree. Looks like it's alive, but it bears no foliage at all, no leaves, nothing. And as you step into the clearing, the ground, you can hear it squish beneath your feet as the damp ground is mushy and the smell of blood permeates the air. It is so clear that every one of you can't mistake it. The whole place is just laced with blood. And as soon as all of you enter the clearing, all of the magpies at once shoot off into the sky in all kinds of different directions, leaving you all standing here in this clearing with the tree. And the wind is once again completely died. There's no fog in the clearing. The tree is in a circle of fog that you can see the fog on all the way around where the corn starts, but none here. It's almost like a sheer line drawn around the clearing itself.
Brother Jacob, nice of you to join us.
Indeed, you can probably make better sense of all of this than I can. And she's just gonna pass him the notebook with the diagram and the notes and everything like that.
And I just hold out the boar heart to him. There you go. Make sense of this.
The offerings that were buried, Brother Jacob, are another symbol of the cycle of predators. The smaller eaten by the larger, who is eaten by the larger one. It is a symbolic gesture of the cycle of how nature works.
You can hold on to the beast's heart.
Did you discover anything at the library?
People who seem to speak up go missing without notice.
Yeah. I had the feeling that would happen. Just stand around.
I mean, I imagine this as being a foggy night in the middle of a cornfield. Reading the notes is not all that practical.
Oddly enough, there's a light enough glow that you can see clear enough to read it. You don't know where the glow comes from, because from what you can see, even though you're in a clear section, you don't see the moon at all. But damned if there isn't an odd light, maybe coming from the fog itself, illuminating the place.
Real quick, just for clarification, out of character, Brother Jacob, you have that skull on you, correct?
Not visibly.
Okay. Because out of character, I was just wondering, like, how many points do the antlers have? So, like, how big are the antlers?
And Brother Jacob was not planning on leaving the church grounds and wasn't aware of anybody else. Didn't think anybody else was coming. So
the horns 2 point, they're not that big. He can easily hide it, I'm pretty sure, either under his cassock or even behind his back if he chose to.
Okay, cool. Because I was like, it's like 4 or 5 or more. You're not hiding that.
It's not big, full rack.
He carries around a messenger bag with his religious tools, we'll say, which would be containing it. He's going over to the damn tree. As if it had a neon light over it that says, "I'm a clue."
As you look at the tree, you notice, first of all, you're definitely walking in bloody ground. It is very odd. You notice, looking at the tree, there seems to be cuts in it in various places that have closed over, but you can see where it has been cut into multiple times. Not huge cuts, just small little nicks, little holes bored. But you can also see where the tree, as a tree will do, has cleaned up after it. But it's been done enough times that it seems to be an often thing that someone has, your guess, drawn sap from the tree.
Yeah. Walking in a bloody field, a blood-soaked field. Sap. Brother Jacob is going to take out a knife and investigate this sap.
What comes out of it when you make a small nick in it? A red, almost blood red. It's a bit brighter than blood. Definitely the viscousness of sap starts to well up where you've cut it. Now, for you, Trevor, you're a bloodhound. You've smelled that exact smell.
Mm-hmm.
There was bits of it on the floor in the ambassador's room.
Oh. This is the stuff. This is the same sappy material that was in the ambassador's room at the hotel. How? It was all over, right? It was all over the...
There's just a few drops of it on the floor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But now that he's cut it, the tree almost looks like it's bleeding where Brother Jacob had cut it as it oozes down through where the tree was cut.
So somehow he made it back? Or when they were cleaning the room, they were cleaning up the body, then they cleaned up the room. It was still on their clothes, on the person. I shouldn't say body. I can't assume. He's probably dead.
There was a narcotic effect of what we found in the room.
Yes.
Well, we are easier to deal with physically if we are in the sense of if you're mortal trying to overpower one of us.
Mm-hmm.
If we are under the effect of a narcotic.
So we are not going to imbibe in this. Great.
How thick around is the trunk of the tree?
It is thicker around than you can put your arms around.
Even mine?
Even yours.
Okay.
So whoever took him used this, we'll call it sap for lack of a better term at this point, to subdue him.
That's the best hypothesis yet. Is there... Oh, you said the magpies left?
All of them at once. They didn't shoot one direction. They literally spread out all directions.
From the tree?
From the tree, yep.
It is... This is their intended target for us, to be at this tree. There's no doubt about that. If they were trying, when you were not with us, they, in our previous clearing, they went towards this, and then you appeared, so you must have been called over here as well. And now that they're scattered in different places with no sense of direction, I think this is the place that something's supposed to happen. I mean, we can try to make our way back into town, not play their game. We'll be stuck here.
We tried that before, and this
Right.
is where we ended up.
The soaked earth storyteller, is that soaked of the same blood?
No, as you bend down to look, the ground almost looks not just ground up meat, bits of ground up bone, and blood. It is so much blood that the ground is soft with it, leaving footprints and marks everywhere you walk. Though what strikes you as odd now that you're examining the ground, you don't see the footprints of you entering the clearing. You can see some of the footprints, but as you're watching, the footprints seem to be slowly disappearing as the ground resets itself to back to the way it was before you stepped on it.
Speaking of doing stupid things, Priscilla's right there at Hangry, and she's not about to subject herself to feeding on one of these villagers. So she's just casually, calmly gonna crouch down, take a hand full of earth, just nice bloody patch, try to see if that helps. And if not, well, she tried.
Please give me a willpower check.
That's just unspent willpower, correct?
Unspent willpower, that's correct. For you, it's what? 4?
Currently 3.
Yeah.
Because I spent
Yep,
one
you
willpower.
spent 1, yeah.
2.
You take 1, smear it around. Then you get a handful of it, shove it into your mouth. Does anyone try to stop her as she starts shoveling this dirt and meat and blood concoction?
Yep. Wait. Is she non-stop doing this?
She keeps putting more and more in, yes.
Casual, crouch down.
What are you doing? Stop.
What flavor is it?
Yeah, what's the resonance? Actually, I should have asked that before once we stepped in.
There's no resonance. But there's something off about it, Priscilla, but you can knock off 2 hunger. Though it feels odd. You don't know why it's odd. There's something off.
I wasn't alive when IPAs were a thing. Is this what drinking an IPA is like? She just kind of says that to herself. Gets more, some kind of slid down her wrist, so she just kind of licks it away. Waste not, want not.
I mean, if it's editable, Brother Jacob's going to take down a notch.
Yep, she'll.
You give me a willpower, please, Brother Jacob.
It does the job, surprisingly.
You can bring down your hunger 1. You resist the urge to just start shoveling it handfuls at a time, especially after you saw how Priscilla reacted. But you did have an urge to just keep shoveling.
I'm good.
Yeah.
That's not my preferred method.
Whatever keeps the beast at bay.
Is there anything else in this clearing besides the tree and the ground?
The tree, the ground, the bone bits that have been gnarled up. That's about it.
So I can't tell if it's human or animal or both.
It is a mix of all 3. We're all 2. Human and animal are all through here in various amounts.
Is there anything hanging from the branches?
Nope. The tree has nothing hanging from it.
I don't. Did they stop?
They
Or
stopped.
is Priscilla still?
Priscilla got her hunger down to 1. I guess she stopped.
Are you okay there? I mean, are you done? You gonna go down for seconds or thirds or fifths?
You know what? Just close your mouth. That's the best favor you can do for yourself right now.
I'm just curious, honestly.
I mean, there's plenty. Go ahead.
Mm.
Chicken.
I could use one of those right now, actually. But
Well, you're kind of hard pressed. Use what you got on hand. Join the club.
yeah, last time that I joined the club, it didn't work out well.
Trial error, my good boy. But it's there if you need it.
I'll keep that in mind. Anyway,
Isn't wise to be here all night.
yeah,
Are there any parts of the town that can be seen from the Judas tree?
Not really. You can see a bit of the church, you think. The fog is making it tough, but you know which direction you entered the clearing from that was 100 feet from the church?
Yeah, I'm heading back toward the church.
actually, speaking to, I want to try to climb it, see if I can get any more lay of the land.
Dex
If there's any
athletics,
different-
please, or death athletics, really. Dex athletics will go with.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take an assist dice because I'll do the whole foot up thing. I got a couple
How do you?
of athletics.
So add an extra, hit the +1 at the bottom left of the screen. By the die icon, there's a +1. You can hit that. They'll give you a +1 die.
Four.
Wow, messy crit.
Yeah.
Let me check something here. Let me have some fun with this.
Yeah.
As you go to climb the tree, you get a boost from Priscilla. You start to go up. You begin to scramble at first. You get a little bit up, then you start to lose your grip on it. And then suddenly you're not slipping down anymore. And looking at your hands have turned into talons. Without you invoking the blood, you have grown your feral weapons to give you a grip on the tree.
Whatever works. Just need to see what's up here.
As you climb to the top of the tree, you can clearly see the town, the church, 100 feet away. From the direction you saw Brother Jacob go.
It looks so close, but it's so far. Looks so easy. Try to shake off the the claw, but
It takes a lot more effort than it should. Your beast is fighting against you. Doesn't want you to remove the claws.
let's do something stupid. I want to take a twig.
Why not? Everyone else has done some stupid things
Yeah.
this scene. Let's go ahead. You gonna pull a twig off it?
Yeah.
Breaks
See if it
off
invokes any more.
easily. But when you break the twig, where it was silent, a strong gust of wind blows through the whole place just once. One strong gust.
Oh, you didn't like that, didn't you? Or it did. Let's do a bit larger one. Not a branch, but a larger stick. As I'm poking the wooden
Give
bear.
me strength athletics this time.
Okay. Not as good with that one, but no. 2.
You go to break the stick, a bigger piece. It bends under your effort. It doesn't break. Bends further than it should. Bends in a flexible way that is frankly disturbing. The moment you let it go for a second to get a better grip, it snaps right back to its original position.
It's made of, it's like as if it was flesh. As if it was a limb. No. Person's limb. I'm gonna see what happens if I climb back down. And I'm gonna keep the twig with the heart.
Okay, you manage to climb back down. I mean, you've got your feral weapons out. Your claws dig easily, though you're leaving bits of sap as you're going down. And because of the climb down and the amount of sap that you've gotten on yourself, you're starting to feel sluggish by the time you get to the bottom. Just a little, but it's noticeable. You can feel it.
Guys, it's just, how far is it till sunrise? Do I know? Can I tell?
You know, it was a moonlit night when you went up here, but it's not moonlit when you climbed the top of the tree. You don't know where the moon went. According to your watch, an hour, maybe?
I think it's time for us to, I think it's just me, or I think it's time for us to rest for the day.
Yeah, storyteller, how are internal sunrise clocks feeling?
The rest of you? You don't feel like it's sunrise yet?
I'm just getting that feeling. I think it's probably the sap. I gotta be honest.
His
I guess
hands
just
are covered with sap.
Anyone have water? No, because we don't carry that.
Mm-hmm. You know, they say there are no stupid questions, and yet the offer for adoption still stands, child.
I still remember you just digging through that thing like, maybe.
Perhaps we should try to find our way back to the town, because either we stay here and wait to greet the sun, or we find a way to take down that tree, because I believe that is the heart of this whole thing. If that were not obvious.
I mean, it's not ideal, especially for us, but set it ablaze.
Will it burn with all this wet ground?
Well, the ground, but the tree, maybe. And the corn. You know. That's I think that's what it's all about. It's just a cash crop. They do this so they have corn.
I'm out of my depth with all this. That's what my common sense.
That's what I'm talking, trying to make sense of. But I'm feeling like if we can get back to the hotel, I think that would be wonderful.
So you all go to set out. Brother Jacob and Priscilla, as you're walking through the corn back towards the church area, knowing Brother Jacob knows that's a short way. Though the fog clings to you, not once do you feel disoriented. While Trevor and Caleb still have the issue of constantly feeling almost turned around, Brother Jacob and Priscilla seem to not have the same effect, because you seem to have walked about 100 feet before you're stepping out of the cornfield by following those two.
Oh,
Interesting.
that's good. I think tomorrow night would be more successful.
Perhaps you should find a way to feed.
Oh, yeah.
You have a cooler with some blood in it waiting in your room.
Yeah, we have the perfectly preserved cooler full of stuff we need, and we can use that instead of digging through the meat ground.
So Brother Jacob didn't wait for Trevor to finish climbing the tree to head back to the church. He is going to attempt a Hail Mary here with all the names that he had written down, and attempt to summon the spirit of one of the names on the tombstones. Since the whole thing is a fetter.
So as the rest of the group comes out to find you standing there, you're going through these list of names. Not one answers.
He's inside the church so that he's not seen openly bleeding onto the ground.
Not one answers. Not a single name. Which, from experience, is odd, because normally, if you go to a graveyard and say enough names, you'll find an answer. Not here. Which is also odd. You've not seen a single ghost. You've not felt a single ghost. Nothing. And that's how they find you standing inside the church.
Having a moment.
Either something is causing this vision that is incorrect about what this is, or there's something that is keeping the spirits away despite being summoned.
Yeah, I guess. I wouldn't want to haunt this kind of location myself if I were a spirit.
They don't get to choose where they haunt. It doesn't quite work that way.
Well,
it's a reason why the polar bears aren't palling it around on Puerto Rico. They have a place, they have a habitat, they have an atmosphere that is appropriate to them.
sounds like a fun place to visit. Anyway, what else are you going to try to do? What's up your arsenal?
So, Tella, what else is there in the church to try poking around in?
Nothing. Your guess by the design of the church, it's definitely old. 200 years maybe old. It was upkept pretty well for a while there, but sometime in the not too distant past, it was let to fall apart. Though it isn't rotting as much as you think. They do repairs on it, just the minimum though, to keep it from totally falling apart.
200 years, and there should be a basement.
There's not. There's no crypt under it. Nothing.
With my architecture background, can I do the whole, like check the walls, check the bookcases?
Go ahead. And Jacob, give me a willpower roll while she's rolling that, please.
I guess the scene's technically changed.
Yep.
Correct? Oh, okay. Because I would have had like 5 intelligence.
3 successes.
3.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You
4.
don't know when you did it, but you've put the skull back on the altar, Jacob. It's not in your bag and it's back on the altar. You don't know when you did it, but you don't even remember doing it, but it's there.
4.
4. Definitely 200 years old. Your guess with the limestone base, first of all, the limestone foundation is in way too good a shape for limestone. Limestone is not good when cold weather, wet weather. It normally,
It's brittle.
yeah, it doesn't last very long, though it has lasted pretty well. Your guess is they didn't put a basement on it, probably because of how wet the ground seems in this area. It'd be a flooded basement a lot.
Mhm. But are there any sort of like hidden cubbies or
No hidden cubbies.
pathways?
You can see it's been repaired because of the age of it. It's a very old, small church. There's not even like back rooms for it. It was just one big prayer hall with an altar. Your guess would be based on what you know of architecture. At some point, there was probably another building on the grounds for the priest to live in, separate from the main building.
First and foremost, yes, there's obvious signs of repair, altering to take care of things that the weather has done to it. For starters, this limestone should be degraded more than what it is, but Brother Jacob, it seems that you have exhausted this location, but you haven't exhausted every location connected to the papal, whatever you want to call it. Normally of this time in this area, whatever priest, what have you, would be holding ordinance over the space, would have a guest house of sorts, as it were. If this were God's house, God would have a guest house for the priest.
Wait, did I manage to examine the church and the crypt and the graveyard and not find
You didn't see
another
one?
building?
You didn't see one, but you weren't specifically looking for possibly the remains of a building because depending on the age, there wouldn't be much left. Though if you want to go out and look, we can handle that.
I mean, I'm talking like an active standing structure.
No, no active standing structures.
Yeah, not interested in that. Because if there was a ruins that would pick up separately from the other fetters, then that would have caught his interest, but didn't trigger anything else. So,
Is there a groundkeeper's shed or anything else on the land where the graveyard is?
No, you don't know how the graveyard's maintained. From the look of it, it's not very well maintained. Somebody obviously comes out and keeps the grass from getting too high, but it's not like a contemporary graveyard where you see well-kept lawn, well-trimmed bushes. It is one of the old style graveyards where they keep the weeds from getting too big, but not much maintenance is being done on it. And unlike the first night when you all first arrived here, there's been no ghost hunters wandering the place tonight.
Oh, that's true.
I have an idea. And it may take a while, so we'll have to watch our timing. But What about exhuming one of the graves?
That's an option.
My thought is, I'm wondering how far the root system of that tree extends.
They're taking. Oh,
Very good point.
that's interesting. If these aren't humans buried under here. You can disconnect whatever it is, and if it is, if that is correct, we have a fighting chance.
No, the only other options are to somehow burn the cornfield and chop the tree down.
Burn the tree.
Burn the tree. If that's even
I'm all for digging something and uncovering something. Or some things might take some time, maybe a little bit faster for us, but just gotta watch our hours.
What do the two of you think?
Brother
So
Jacob's,
Jacob and
Brother
Priscilla.
Jacob's going to check his watch. Storyteller, what time is it?
According to your watch, it's about midnight. According to your watch. Except Caleb, did you reset your watch to match everyone else's time?
I didn't say I did, I'll say I didn't.
Because if you didn't, your watch claims it's about 8 a.m. because of your lost time.
Right.
So the rest
He's
of us
gonna
would
take
say
it.
midnight.
The rest of your watches say midnight, yes.
He's going to synchronize his with us. There's now seeing the difference.
Is there a clock in the church?
No, it's too old.
Figured.
Is it still dark out?
Yes.
Okay.
The strange lighting that comes from the fog isn't really as much here at the church. It's not like the cornfield where it was that odd, eerie light that shouldn't be there. Here, it's mostly dark. Mostly.
Looking outside. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Jacob's going to head back to the skull now that he has given up on the possibility, or that he has accepted the possibility that if something is blocking him from using his disciplines properly, he is going to just examine it and get a sense of, the cultiness of it.
You put it back exactly where you got it. I mean, exactly where you got it from. It's one piece, complete. You don't know how, but it is one piece, complete. Even the teeth were in good condition. Jawbone, good condition.
Did we see this?
Any roll to be made to gain any
Go ahead.
information
Intelligence
on this?
occult.
One success.
It just seems like an odd skull. If it's a fake, it's better than any fake you've ever seen.
I was looking for how authentic it is and more kind of getting an idea of what it would be used for.
Pagan rites. That's one success. Pagan rites of some kind. I mean, there's lots of cultures through the world that will revere the skull of an ancestor or a skull of something they considered blessed. And there's a good chance that might be one of them.
Did we see the skull now?
Yeah, it's back
That he
on
put
there.
up?
Yeah, it's plain
Oh, we
view.
didn't see it before, though.
It was in there when you walked in.
That doesn't seem like it fits.
Certainly does not fit a Christian church.
Get a sense that the town folks are not good, upstanding Christians. There's been some heathen activity on these grounds.
I couldn't tell.
Heathenism is subjective, if you ask me.
Semantics. But you said with the antlers. Did I say know what kind of antlers they could have been? With
Deer.
my animal.
Obvious deer.
Just pure. Okay.
Yeah, obvious deer antlers.
All right. Well, are we gonna start exhuming these graves, or
Are you?
I'm open to it?
I mean, it is your idea,
It's not.
and it is digging in the dirt, which not to be offensive, that is something your clan is known for.
Yes. That's why I kind of support this idea. Because I'm reinforcing that.
We're not as squeamish as some others. And he starts walking out towards the graveyard.
Okay. You pick. Do you look for an old grave, a newer grave? What is your criteria?
I'm gonna look for a newer grave.
Okay. The newer graves are a bit further. I will be assume competence. The newer the grave, the more likely it is in view of the town. The older graves are a little more hard to see what you're doing. Though you can find one that is not extremely old, that you're pretty sure most people wouldn't be able to see you digging due to the church blocking a view.
Okay. And I'm gonna get to it.
So you're going to start digging. Trevor, you're helping him?
Yes. But we don't have any tools with us to.
Nope. Though the ground seems
I'm not
oddly soft.
Brazilians.
Like everything, the ground is soft. Priscilla and Jacob, what are you doing while they're digging? Are you just watching to keep an eye to make sure nobody comes wandering up on them?
I'm heading out to the front of the church, to the road, and just kind of waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep to the shadows, stealthily a little bit, kind of some pacing action going on, keeping an eye on things.
It takes.
Go
ahead.
Is the ground meaty and bloody?
No, it's not bloody and meaty here.
I just had to make sure.
But it's soft. It's softer.
It's soft.
I mean, it's been wet a lot. It's not hard packed like it should be in a lot of ways. But as you dig down, you're not trying to dig the whole grave out. You're just trying to get down to where the coffin would be, correct? So you don't have to dig a giant man-sized hole, just a smaller tunneling down. As you get down a few feet, 6 feet, you come to a decaying pine box. You can see the top of it, a portion of the top.
And I punch through it.
Oh yeah, it's easy enough to break. The wood's rotted from being in the ground. When you break it, you're shocked by what you see. A corpse is staring back at you that, by your guess, would have been dead a few days at most. Not the years from this grave.
What is like the description? Is this a?
It's a woman. Looked to be mid-30s. Her hair still has a slight sheen to it. Skin is sallow. There's a gash on her neck. Looks like Her throat was cut and re-sewn together.
Oh, great.
So when you say the ground was soft like it was recently exhumed, or
No,
just soft like it's moist?
Just soft. It's hard to explain. It's not disturbed ground where it's recently been pulled up, but it's not dry, hard earth. The moisture seems to go deep enough that it's easy to pull it aside.
All right.
How about any roots?
No roots.
No roots.
Nope.
All right.
So that
No. Go ahead.
hypothesis is out the window. I mean,
Very strange.
is this person's eyes open or is it still?
They're closed.
They're closed.
But the eyelids are not sunken in like the eyeballs even decayed. They look like they're sleeping.
I'm going to try something. I'm going to take the head and I'm going to roll it to the side, back and forth.
No rigor mortis. Moves freely.
Let's see if that was or if she's jolted awake, but no. I didn't think that.
Doesn't wake up. Body is cold.
Does it say the year of the death?
The gravestone, it said it was 1960. It does not have a birth year, just a death year.
I'm going to tear the neck a little bit.
Clean cut.
Does it bleed?
No.
Okay.
But it was a clean cut. There's not a drop of blood in the body.
And I see if is their mouth sewn or shut or is it clamped?
It's sewn shut.
I want to open the mouth.
Okay.
I want to detect if they.
The stitches used to sew it shut are long since dry rotted, they just break with the slightest movement. And as you open the mouth, the gum line hasn't receded like normal with death. They're not elongated. You don't have fangs or anything. But this is a unnaturally preserved corpse in this box.
Okay. So
even the clothes, from what you can see, because you didn't get enough to see the whole body, the clothes look like they're rotting and falling away, but not the body itself.
I think it just goes with or maybe a side effect of preserving the crops, and it preserves other things as well to a newer state.
I wonder what the older ones would look like.
We could certainly find out. How long did this take to dig this out?
About 2 hours.
I mean, we can certainly try.
Are we starting to see faults dawn yet?
It's about 2 a.m. by your watch. Not quite yet, though if you take another 2 hours, you'll be getting very close to dawn.
We'd be pushing it, and I'm still. Am I even more exhausted from doing that?
No, you're just about the same. It hasn't really lifted. You're still feeling drowsy for some reason. As long as you keep moving, you're fine now.
Yeah, I can. We could. I mean, I can always risk it. We want to go as towards
I'd like to have the comparison.
sunrise as possible.
So yeah, we're gonna try. I'm gonna look for one of the older graves.
Okay. Brother Jacob and Priscilla, are you all, Brother Jacob, you still gonna keep watch? They've been at it 2 hours.
Yeah, no, if they haven't come up with something in 2 hours, since the only place that we've gotten any information that is somewhat actionable that seems to have been in the library, and they've now been wandering around digging outside for 6 hours total to find out that the tree is weird. Jacob's going to come over and see what's taking so long.
And you come back to see them digging and starting a new hole. Priscilla, are you still watching to keep an eye to make sure nobody comes wandering up on them?
I mean, yeah, I think like every probably like half hour or so, she kind of like would have touched base with them to see their findings and everything like that. But yeah, with Brother Jacob approaching them, she's basically taking a wider circle now.
Brother Jacob, you come to see them digging a new hole. And when you look down in the other hole, preserved corpse. Like, not naturally preserved corpse.
Her name on the gravestone?
This is Mary. Mary Elizabeth.
Does she seem to be buried with anything? And yes, I'm using binding fetters to look at her to see if she has anything that might be considered a fetter in her.
What you can see is basically from about here, just below the shoulder up, because of how they dug the hole. She's got earrings on, not fetters. The ground and everything around it is fetters. She's not a fetter at all. Neither are the earrings. Neither is the box, but the ground is.
I know what the ground has satisfied my hunger. So, I'm going to step into what has been dug. My hunger is going to increase, and I am going to see if I can summon Mary.
You call out. Your beast being silent, which is odd in this graveyard. Call out for Mary. And there's something odd about your power, the way it's acting right now. A faint echo, perhaps. You almost see a shimmering around the body. But no response, nothing. A memory of a spirit, perhaps. You've never encountered that before.
Did we see him trying to do this? Is how far away
You
are we
wouldn't
from
see
this?
anything from him doing it. There's no visible part.
I mean, since he didn't fill the hole in, he's inside the hole.
He's standing in it.
Okay.
But
I just meant him in general.
yeah, you wouldn't see, there's no visible effect when he uses this kind of power. There's nothing obvious to.
Other than him bleeding into the fucking hole, but yeah. He's probably smart enough to do that discreetly.
Well, considering it's about 6 feet down, most of you is in the hole. It's not like anyone would see you do it anyway. Caleb and Trevor are digging their new hole.
Much older grave. What's the year on this one?
1916.
His brother
Okay.
Jacob gives up. Do you plan to fill these holes back in?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
You're aware of
Yeah,
how much
sure.
time it took you to dig the first one.
I feel like it
Right.
didn't take as long.
I mean, we could use help. Maybe it won't take as long.
What makes you think you're going to find something different in this one?
It's a matter of comparison.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, we found out that the roots aren't connected to it. It's not powered by corpses or anything, but as you can tell, it's fresh-ish. We just want to see if an older one, a much older one, would have the same effect. But
And what What do you hope to gain from this knowledge? How is this information going to add more to our search for our target?
If
I
it's,
just look up.
if it is the
Caleb.
same, it's nothing. If it is different, then perhaps it will be a further clue.
What clue has it given us to us?
But the dead are somehow preserved well past their time of decay.
Yeah, now I'm starting to go to Jacob's side. Yeah, so it'll decay, and then what are we going to use with that knowledge?
How does that help us find the missing courier?
Very well.
Yeah. I just stop. Good point.
Start filling the holes back in.
Yeah.
It's tough to make it look like nobody was digging, but you can at least make it not as obvious, at least. And as you fill it back in, and we'll put it about 3 a.m., little after 3,
All right.
by your watches.
Is there anything else on the agenda?
Though you're feeling the lethargy that is starting to come on from dawn. You can feel it approaching.
Well,
We should get back into shelter.
yeah. This was an interesting night, no doubt. It's just, I guess the plan would be get rid of that tree somehow, and or the corn. I honestly don't know if we're going to be able to find our missing person, but
Perhaps tomorrow night when we rise, we can assemble what clues we have and go from there.
So do you all start heading back to the hotel?
yes, I am at least.
So am I.
Yep.
Priscilla and Brother Jacob, both of you do not feel that sense of being lost, that sense of being turned around. You can navigate right back to the hotel. Though for Trevor and Caleb, again, you feel the mist trying to confuse you, trying to throw you off. But for the other two, you don't have that problem. And as you arrive at the hotel, you're seeing the first peekings of dawn over the horizon. And as you step inside, you realize it's almost 5 a.m. You've lost 2 hours this night. You spent 2 more hours in the cornfield than you thought or your watch showed.
I think we should be going earlier into the, rather than later tomorrow night. Just so dawn doesn't sneak up on us.
Yeah, we'll go as soon as the fireball's not a problem.
And we might cause another one. Who knows?
So as you all are feeling the lethargy of day, you return to your hotel room. I assume, Brother Jacob, you're sleeping in the bathtub again.
We still have the key to the other bedroom,
Yes, you
the
do.
other hotel room.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You do.
Brother Jacob is going to there's no time for any investigation. I'm taking.
Not really. No. The sleep will hit you before much longer. And it gets very difficult to stay awake. I see the wheels moving in Brother Jacob's head. I can see it.
Oh yeah. So he is going to attempt to stop in the hotel room of our person guest and see if there is anything, do a quick investigation that they might have missed.
The other room, the one from the ambassador's room.
Yep.
When you go and open a door to it, the bed has been made. The disheveled Sate is not that way anymore. It's obvious that after you left, Lydia sent in the staff to clean the room, make the bed, change the sheets, and prep it as an open hotel room.
No personal effects or belongings to be found?
There weren't any before. You're pretty sure after the cleaning crew went in, there really isn't now. Even that little red dot on the carpet's gone.
Anything left behind by the cleaning crew?
No. Damp spot where that red spot was on the floor. You can see where they had to clean it with carpet cleaner and left a wet spot from trying to get the stain up.
And any of those like little cards that the hotels,
Just they've replaced all the tourist brochures, the normal stuff that's there when you come into a brand new hotel room. The little card has the room service desk numbers and all that. Yep.
take the little welcome card with me.
Okay.
Head to the bathroom to prepare for the evening. And I'm going to try to use premonition on it.
In that the ambassador's room, before you use premonition on the card. Good.
I'm bringing it back to my room.
Oh, your room. Okay. Give me, let's see. Let's get a roll for this. Resolve all specs.
Resolve all specs. Rousing.
Okay.
Resolve. I'm going to spend a willpower.
Okay.
That is 6 successes.
Oh.
As you hold the card and use premonition on it, for a second there, you start to see the card. And you can, because of those successes, you can feel your gaze being wrenched away from it, being pulled away from it. And you're suddenly looking at the clearing of the Judas tree. And in that clearing of the Judas tree, there are 4 bats flying together, while around it the magpies circle. And then in that same vision you're watching, the bats begin to fight amongst themselves, 2 of them attacking the other 2. As the magpies grow closer and closer together. And you realize the magpies are all saying the same thing. In almost human voices, they're all repeating blood over and over and over as your vision fades. And your beast actually speaks. Though it is not the voice you recognize for your beast. You are mine now, come to me. And right here, everybody, this is where we end this episode. Yes, there'll be one more. We have to figure out when. It won't be, hopefully won't be too long, but we will figure out when. Yeah, they're fucked.
Dear Lord.
Interpret that vision how you want. Be aware, though, that the one in the land is not that subtle. Its visions are not nearly as subtle as some of the others that can come from it. And someone's beast has been suborned to another now. I'd like to thank my players for this atrocity that I'm putting them through. I'd like to thank you, the viewers, who came out to see it. We're not done yet. One more episode. Of course, you want to join us on our Discord, everybody? That is where we cast this show from. We cast all of our shows from the Discord. We've got a pretty good community. Oh, good. Mama's doing the thing, so I won't have to keep typing it. Perfect. We cast our shows from the community. We do Zoom hangouts when we can. We just had a closed casting call. We just closed a casting call recently for a vampire New Chronicle Kansas City. I believe there'll be a new casting call coming out in the next week or so for a Monster Hearts 2 game, because Mama's doing a continuation of her first Monster Hearts stream. So be on the lookout for that casting call to come up. And of course, we post other casting calls as we can. And plus, it's a good place to hang out and you can chat with people. So pop over to our Discord. Good place to be. You want to catch back episodes like the other two parts of Bloodied Fields, all of our World of Darkness content. We have just about every fucking World of Darkness splat covered. We've got a lot of independent games: Monster Hearts, Bluebeard's Bride, Zasser, Kala, Paranoia, Nighthawks. We love doing our independent stuff too. So you can pop over to our YouTube, get the back episodes. If you want to see D&D or Call of Cthulhu, pop over to Ishvel. That's where we can get that. If you're going to do want to see some amazing content creators, check out our friends. I'm going to give a chance for everyone here to say where else they are in a minute here, right after I give the schedule. But check out our friends, the RPG Table. That's Junie. You'll see her in a couple of our streams. Ravnos Archon. Ravnos Archon streams on his own channel, but he also runs Star Wars here on our channel. So check them out. So you're aware, bits and donations, they go to the players, not to the studio. It is a way for you, the viewers, to give something to the players for the bad shit that I'm putting them through. And in the case of this game, some convoluted, fucked up shit I'm putting through. I'll be fair. I'm enjoying this because most of the time my tables don't let me dive that deep into the spooky shit, whereas this one was designed from the beginning to be all the spooky shit. So I'm enjoying the hell out of this. If you want to give something to the studio, subscribe on Twitch. They'll take half. That sucks. Go over to our Ko-fi. You can give there. They don't take half. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, comment on the video, hit the notification icon. All that drives up engagement. So it's a good thing to do over there. We've got Windy City we've got vampire merch, and we've got merch in the merch store. At the rate we're going with this mini-series, all the players are going to need a t-shirt that says, I died in the McStabber Studios one shot, and all I got was a t-shirt. We have that t-shirt in there. So please check that out. And let me give the schedule this week. Let's see. It is Sunday now. So Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, Vampire Dark Ages, Glimpses of History. You'll see me as storyteller with Brother Jacob there playing Miguel Tanner as we go through 800 years of kindred history. Where they're at now, they're getting a fortress built in Tahuta Pass. They've got a lupine problem, a something else problem, and they owe Micah Vikos favors. I'm sure it's fine. Trust me.
Yeah.
Micah Vikos is a sweetheart at this era.
Best guy.
Yeah, in this era. It's later things to be a problem. Friday, we have Star Wars at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is told by Ravnos Archon. You'll see Junie and Zeus and Cali Salvo and Evie Eternal as they are playing 4,000 years before the movies were set in the time of the Sith. This is the heyday of the Sith, and they just had a Sith cut some dude in half and fuck their whole world up. It's great to watch. Good shit. And then Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, Tiss will be back with her Call of Cthulhu stream of Victorian investigators. And then finally, of course, next week on Sunday at noon, we start the Vampire Windy City Marathon. From noon to 10 p.m., we will start with Season 1, Episode 1, and restream the entire Vampire Chronicles on Sundays from 10 to midnight. Or not 10 to midnight, sorry, noon to 10. I get my times reversed. It's a chance to watch reruns. If you want to catch it from the beginning, we'll be streaming it every Sunday. You can leave it on in the background while you run around the house and do all the things you do around the house so you can have some good vampire in the background and relive all the fun moments of the death of Jonathan, the death of Samantha, the spirit in the lake, the chessboard, all the good shit that went on with Windy City. Jackie, ghouling Peter, all the good shit. You'll get to play it all back out. So once that's done, of course, we'll switch over to Mage and Werewolf and Changeling and our Demon and our Wraith. We will be using Sunday for now as the noon to 10 p.m. World of Darkness Marathon day. So if you need a fix, watch it then. And then hopefully we'll get back to this in a few weeks here to finish it up, because we've hit the point now where two of them are compromised and they know damn well why they are compromised, what they did. And the other two are fucked. So I'm going to go around now and let people say what they're doing. Brother Jacob, what you got going on?
Shanky already said it. Wednesday. We're doing Dark Ages. We're doing vampire things. And I don't know what you're talking about. Brother Jacob or Miguel did not accept anything from Mike Vicos. That was Radu who accepted goods from.
You may claim one thing, Micah will claim another. We'll see how that works out.
It was just a courtesy of the company. So you can find me in St. Louis Rolled on Dubs. I cannot back that up. That's Nelly. That's not me. I can be found on the Bird app at Zach Rules. As long as that is up, I can be found on the Ancient Elephant app at Zach Rules at dice.camp. I am other places. There's a link to my website in chat, and that's it.
Check out Zach on the Storyteller's Vault. Drive Through RPG. Go check Zach out. He's got stuff on there. He's written a few things, so check him out.
Links on my website.
Yep, links on his website. Go check him out. Priscilla, Diviner Astrid, what you got going on?
Yeah, so as far as streaming goes, Dark Standard has taken a big hiatus, mostly just because like players and stuff, not a good time right now, scheduling and stuff like that. But I got some things in the works. I'm mostly doing home games and stuff like that for right now. Speaking of the Bird app, if anyone has an invite to the cloud space thing going on, let me know. I need to get away from Twitter. You don't need to hear about that. You can find me on KoFi. I have a shop. I got membership tiers. I read tarot. I sell crystals. I have a monthly mystery crystal package promotion thing I'm trying to get people to sign up for. My KoFi, to where I put like my teasers as to what that will be and other witchy things. It's just simply Astrodine.
Okay. Well, she's in a lot of things. She's always keeping busy. You know, you got to survive in this world somehow, I guess. I don't know. I'm not surviving. I'm trapped in the land of fog and corn, apparently. Beetle Spock, you got anything else going on around here?
Yeah, on Bird app, I am Nick A. Didato. On everything else, TikTok, Instagram, I'm at Beetle Spock. I do have a few things I contribute to for D&D. I mostly play D&D. And this is the first few times I've ever really ventured in the World of Darkness. It's been incredible. But a few things I've written for. So if you look at my name on DM's Guild, you can see what I've contributed to. That's pretty much it.
Check him out on DM's Guild. Caleb, you got anything else going on, or is this pretty much it?
No, I actually do have a couple of things,
but cool.
I got to find out about this Bird app thing because I'd never heard of it. I'm an old man and I'm stuck in my, college land. But you can find me on Twitter at Ben McGinnis 138. I also can be found on Aaron the Pedantic's YouTube channel playing Dungeon Crawl Classics, and the recaps of the Hex and Bones gaming club. Our Dungeon Crawl Classics games can be found there. I am also working on my World of Cinder game, which will be kind of a old school homebrew that will turn into a world building hex crawl. So look out for that coming soon.
That's
Aside
cool.
from that, That's just me.
Look, everyone's got stuff going on, even me. It's good to see that. So as we end these streams, I like to tell everybody, please, mental health, everybody. It's not a joke. It's not a laughing matter. We end all of our streams here, at least the ones that I run, with to talk about mental health, please. Check in on those around you. Please make sure they're okay. A lot of people aren't, and it just takes a friendly voice, a lifeline, somebody reaching out a lot of times to help somebody get through it, because it's tough. And if you suffer from mental health issues, I want to, first of all, tell you it's okay to not be okay. I know there's a social stigma attached to it that should not be there, because we're all human. We have good days. We have bad days. We have times it's tough to deal with what life throws at us. So first of all, there's nothing wrong with admitting you need help once in a while. Please don't feel ashamed to do that. And you should reach out to those around you, to your own support network, to try to get help when you can. But if you feel you can't, because a lot of people can't, in chat right now is a list of numbers. You can call or text 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There will be a professional on the other end of the line who will help you out and will try to walk you through it and try to be that lifeline you need. And I know we have a number of non-U.S. viewers. So if you're not in the U.S., findahelpline.com. You can put in your country of origin and get support lines for your country, because mental health is health, everybody. And we want you to take care of yourself. It's a complete package, mental and physical health, all wrapped together, and they all work as one big whole. So I want to make sure that gets put out there. And now, since my wife isn't here, I'll give her parts. Please get your vaccinations. There's no reason why polio should be making a comeback. The fact that it is making a comeback is fucking horrifying. Please get all your vaccinations. Dear God, please. We almost eradicated it and now it's coming back. That's fucked up. Stupidity is going to kill people. If you're not registered to vote, please register to vote. And I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. That is not my place. But I am going to tell you, look at which group is banning books, which group is taking away people's rights, which group is doing everything they can to make a portion of our country secondhand citizens or second-class citizens, and vote them out, please. There is a fascist playbook that is being played out in real time right now in this country and across the world as a whole. Look and see what's going on. And please vote accordingly. Human rights are important. Trans rights are human rights. Bodily autonomy is important. Please vote out the ones trying to take away and strip away rights and are trying to ban books to suppress ideas that they don't agree with. Please vote accordingly for that. And as the storyteller that's having way too much fun fucking with these players, I do thank you all for coming. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.